Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're making our customers uncomfortable. Tasha blinked, caught off guard. Excuse me? The store manager, mid-40s, tight-lipped and pale with authority, didn't flinch. You've been lingering near the high-value items for a while. We've had issues before. A pulse surged in Tasha's ears. Her voice stayed even. I'm comparing essential oils. I haven't touched anything but this diffuser. She lifted it gently, as if proving her innocence with care. Her hands didn't shake, but her heart did. Around her, customers stood stiff. One man subtly shifted. Behind a display, a woman looked away. A teen tapped a record on her phone. No offense, the manager added, clearly meaning all of it, but we reserve the right to protect our space. Tasha inhaled sharply, setting the diffuser back. Protect. It from what? Me? He stepped closer. You need to leave, now. The room stood still, tension curling like smoke through the air. Tasha looked around, searching for one friendly face, but all she saw were eyes that refused to meet hers. Not one. The woman by the window pulled her sunglasses down and turned away. The man by the crystals coughed, then busied himself with his phone. A door chime rang softly as a customer slipped out. No purchase, no protest. Just gone. Tasha's stomach clenched. She wasn't a stranger to this brand of shame. It wore silence like armor. But this felt different, more exposed. Her voice trembled in her mind, but she swallowed it. Not again. Not today. Still, the message was clear. She was the threat, and the store was the victim. Someone cleared their throat. It echoed louder than it should have. The manager crossed his arms. Are you going to cooperate, or do I need to call security? She didn't move, couldn't yet. But her eyes narrowed, steadying not out of anger, but from knowing. They always made you explain your right to exist first. I'd like to speak to someone else, Tasha said, keeping her tone level. A regional manager. Someone who isn't escalating over nothing. You don't get to make demands here, he snapped. I saw you slide something into your bag. Don't play games? Her heart dropped. What? I said? He repeated louder. I saw you steal. You're lucky I haven't called the cops yet. Tasha took a careful step back, then reached for her purse. You can check. I'll open it right here. I have nothing to hide. Security. Entered two of them. Tall. Impersonal. One reached for his radio. She's refusing to comply? The younger one asked the manager. No, Tasha interrupted. I'm not refusing. I'm saying I didn't take anything. She held her purse open, revealing her wallet, a bottle of water, and her phone. Where's the receipt for that diffuser? The older guard asked. I haven't bought it yet, she said, frustration leaking into her words. It's still on the shelf, the manager smirked. Interesting how you knew which item I meant. She stopped. Her voice caught between rage and disbelief. The guard shook his head. We were called for a situation. We're just doing our job. Her composure cracked slightly. Your job is humiliating black women, huh? Now the air buzzed. Even the teen stopped recording for a second. Tasha's hands curled into fists, not out of violence, but from the effort it took to stay upright. I need you all to look at the cameras, Tasha said, eyes darting from guard to manager. You have footage. You'll see I didn't touch anything. The manager scoffed. You're raising your voice. I'm asking for fairness. You're being aggressive. There it was, the label. Not a woman. Not a customer. Not human. Aggressive. She lowered her voice to a whisper. I'm asking for dignity. But it didn't matter. To them, every word she spoke, every breath she drew was fuel for their story. She reached into her purse again, pulled out a receipt from a different store. And something else slipped out a photo of her daughter. Curly-haired, smiling Dot, it hit her like a wave. If her daughter ever saw this, her breath shortened, her eyes glasses, but still no tears. Not yet. Behind her, a man muttered, "Just let it go, lady." She snapped her gaze to him. "You would." He looked down, ashamed. Or maybe just annoyed she'd made him feel something. She turned back to the guards. "I'm not a thief. And you know that." But they didn't blink. They didn't care. And her proof wasn't worth a damn. "Let's go," one guard muttered, taking her elbow. "I can walk." They didn't let her dot as they guided no, escorted her to the door. Someone in line whispered, "She didn't even do anything." A teenage boy, nervous. But honestly, Tasha met his eyes for a second. He looked away, ashamed of his courage. Outside the door, her foot caught the edge of the mat. She stumbled. They didn't stop. She caught herself, barely. Her purse jerked open, and a few items spilled out: lip gloss, keys, the same damn receipt no one believed in. The manager stayed inside, arms still crossed, and the door shut behind her with a cold click. Inside, shopping resumed. Outside, Tasha stood still. The shove hadn't bruised her. The silence had. Tasha sank to the curb, the sidewalk rough beneath her palms. Her chest rose and fell too fast. Phones had caught it all. She knew the story would spread. But in this moment, it wasn't just as she felt. It was fury. Her voice. In a quiet voiceover, "This wasn't the first time. But it will be the last." "Resilience," she whispered, pouring the wax gently into the glass jar. The word was hand-stamped onto the label, curling slightly at the edges, just like her. Hope some days. Tasha lined the candle beside others. Joy, clarity, belonging. Each one a mantra. Each one a survival strategy. In this room, her small studio tucked behind her kitchen, everything made sense. Herbs dried on the shelf. Affirmations were taped. Above her workbench, an incense drifted softly from the WINDOWSI here. She wasn't the woman being followed around stores. She was a healer, an artist, a mother rebuilding the world she wanted to live in. The door buzzed faintly in the distance. Probably another online order. Her brand was small, but her intention was loud. By sunrise, she was lacing up sneakers beside. Her daughter. "Got your lunch, baby?" "Yep." The two of them strolled through their South Central neighborhood, passing murals of black excellence, waving to the juice cart guy, laughing at the rooster that always crowed late. After school. Drop off. Tasha walked 3 blocks to the community shelter. She wasn't on payroll, she just showed up. Sorting hygiene kits. Leading breathwork circles on Fridays. She knew everyone's name. She knew who needed sage and who just needed space. And every time someone asked how she kept going, she'd smile and say, "Just getting what I needed when I was growing up." But it hadn't always been this way. Tasha still remembered the cubicle. Fluorescent lights. The email chain she wasn't included on again. The presentation she built that someone else presented. The HR rep who called her articulate. She'd written her resignation in one breath. No anger, just clarity. "My healing can't live here," it read. "And neither can I." Since that day, every candle she poured was a quiet revolution. Her wellness brand, Soul Soil, wasn't about trends. It was about ancestry, survival, and reclaiming space for Black women to breathe. Every product description carried intention. Every scent was rooted in history. She wasn't selling candles. She was making room for healing, even if the world kept trying to shrink her down. Still, the world found ways to remind her. Her goddess ground blend got called ghetto crystals by some YouTube commentators. A loan officer smiled as he explained why her business lacked enough market viability. She'd applied with stronger numbers than her white counterparts. She'd seen the charts in the forums, not even at the local co-op. A clerk asked if she meant to use her EBT card, though she hadn't. Then came the emails. We love what you're doing, but it's not really on brand for our demographic. Each slight was sharp, not fatal, but constant. Tasha never responded publicly. She just made a new candle, labeled it Shadowwork Dot, and sold out in 2 days. No press, no hashtags. Just power, moving in silence. But the fire inside her kept building. Back. In her studio, a familiar voice played softly through her speaker. Queen Latifah. Interview. 1999. You don't ask for a seat at the table. You build your own damn table. Tasha mouthed the words as she clicked images to her vision board. A sunlit yoga room. A wall of ancestors, black women in meditation poses. She glanced up at the poster above her desk. Latifah in a crown, smirking. A quote etched in gold foil. Turn pain into purpose. She whispered it like a prayer. Again. Again. This dream had roots. She just needed water. Sunlight. Space. Her eyes fell on one last candle waiting for a label. She picked up a pen and wrote in black ink, Sovereign, then added it to the collection next to Resilience. Morning, Tasha smiled, pushing open the boutique door. Soft music played overhead, and the scent of lavender hung in the air. Earth-toned shelves held diffusers, polished crystals, and herbal face masks. Minimalistic, curated, clearly designed. To be elevated. She stepped inside, shoulders relaxed, genuinely excited to explore. A woman behind the counter looked up. No greeting, just a glance that lingered too long. Tasha nodded politely. Just browsing, thanks. She walked toward the aromatherapy display. As her fingers grazed a rose quartz gua sha, she sensed movement behind her. The woman was watching closely. Tasha shook it off. Not the first time. Hopefully the last. But the warmth she entered with had already started to fade. She moved toward the second aisle, intending to compare diffuser sizes. The same employee drifted into the space behind her, pretending to straighten skincare bottles. Her hands barely touched anything. Tasha changed direction. So did she. There it was, the silent trail. The kind that said, "We're keeping an eye on you, just in case." Her palms tingled. Breath shallow but steady. Her eyes tracked products now, but also exits. She picked up a candle and turned it over slowly, as if she hadn't noticed anything. A whisper caught her attention. Another employee, speaking to the first. Followed by a quick glance. Tasha didn't need to hear what they said. The message was clear. Presence mistaken for suspicion. Again. Excuse me, she said gently, practicing the calm tone she'd mastered years ago. Before she asked a question, she rehearsed it under her breath. Words crisp, smile friendly, posture open. She even kept both hands visible. She wasn't nervous. She was strategic. Can you tell me which diffuser works best with eucalyptus oils? Her voice was sweetened. Polished. The associate blinked twice, then nodded. You ain't sure. Tasha nodded back. Thank you so much. A woman nearby glanced over, then quickly turned away. Tasha saw the look, that careful watching. The kind that made you shrink in real time. And yet, she still said thank you. Still smiled, because she knew the rules of survival. You might like the clearance section in the back, the saleswoman offered suddenly. Tasha looked up, confused. I'm fine, thank you. I'm just looking at this model here. The woman tilted her head. It's one of our premium lines, but we have more budget-friendly options as well. Tasha's lips pressed together. I'm aware. I read the price tag. Still, she kept her tone light. She didn't owe grace, but gave it anyway. She gestured to a misting diffuser shaped like a lotus. This one, does it run quietly? Yeah. But if you're just getting started, maybe something simpler makes more sense. Tasha paused. I'm not new to wellness. The woman smiled tightly, as if embarrassed for Tasha, not herself. Tasha nodded politely, even as her jaw clenched. Sometimes you wear your worth loudly. Sometimes you swallow it near the shells of chakra stones. Tasha noticed a mother with her daughter. She stepped aside to let them pass as she did. The mother subtly pulled the little girl closer grip, tightening on her tiny wrist. The girl looked up at Tasha with wide eyes, blinking in confusion. Tasha offered a soft smile, careful not to scare her. The child smiled back. Briefly, Tasha turned away before her chest could tighten again. That moment, the silent message that her presence was dangerous. It always came when least expected. From strangers. From neighbors. From mothers teaching their children what to fear. Tasha made her way to the register with the diffuser she'd chosen. This was marked at $59.99, she said, setting it gently on the counter. The cashier, a younger man, scanned it, then frowned. UH, ringing up as $89.99, must be mislabeled. Tasha pointed calmly. The shelf still says 59. I checked twice. He hesitated. Let me get someone. As he walked away, a customer behind her exhaled impatiently. Seriously? Tasha's shoulders straightened. She didn't turn around. The cashier returned. I called the manager. Of course he did. And just like that, her stomach dropped. Because she knew how quickly situations like these stopped being about price and started being about perception. The manager walked over, face already hard. Is there an issue? He asked flatly. Tasha opened her mouth. The diffuser is priced on the shelf at. I don't like your tone, he cut in. She blinked. My tone? You're being confrontational. Her confusion froze into alarm. I'm just asking for the price that's posted. He leaned in slightly. Did you put something in your bag? And just like that, the bottom dropped out again. Only this time, the cameras were already watching. I said, leave the store. The manager's voice cracked across the boutique like thunder, loud enough for the customers in the back to freeze. Tasha stood still, fingers tight around the diffuser. I'm not stealing, she said, voice low but firm. He snapped his fingers at security. She's being combative. Get her out. A gasp rippled through the boutique. Some shoppers leaned closer. Others pulled out their phones. Why are you yelling at me? Tasha asked, blinking back the heat in her eyes. You're making a scene, he said, hands on his hips. I came here to shop, she replied. Not to be shouted at? His face twisted. Then you should have behaved like a customer. The word customer stung like an insult. Murmurs floated in the air. A few faces shifted uneasily. One woman whispered to her friend. Tasha's chest tightened as she felt herself shrinking, every word from him wrapping around her like barbed wire. But she stayed rooted, refusing to move. Not yet. 2 security guards arrived, flanking her like she was a threat, not a patron. Ma'am, we need you to step away from the display, one said flatly. Tasha blinked. Are you serious? The second guard didn't answer. He just nodded toward her purse. Open it up, please. I didn't steal anything. This doesn't need to get complicated, the older guard said, lifting his radio. I have a receipt, Tasha said, voice trembling now. You can check your cameras. I haven't done anything wrong. But they weren't listening. They were performing, just doing their job. She looked around, eyes silently begging for someone to say something. No one did. A couple near the entrance pretended to browse. The cashier behind the register avoided eye contact. The influencer-looking girl who had been filming earlier now stared at her phone, disengaged, I'm not a criminal, Tasha whispered, louder now, voice shaking. One of the guards took a step forward. We're escorting you out. Don't make this harder. Tasha backed up instinctively. She felt cornered. Not by walls, but by assumption. The silence around her didn't just hurt. It confirmed everything. Wait. The word dropped like a stone. Everyone turned to see a young white woman near the incense table. Her hand was raised slightly. I saw. Her, she said. She picked it up from the shelf. She didn't hide anything. A pause, sharp, loud in its stillness. Tasha's breath caught. Someone had seen. Someone knew. The woman's eyes flicked to her, then back to the staff. She didn't do anything wrong. Whispers buzzed. A man near the exit glanced at the manager, waiting for a reaction. The tension wavered briefly. Tasha stared at the woman, unsure whether to feel grateful or exposed. But before she could speak, the moment-shattered the manager's voice returned, hard and defensive. Mind your business. We have policies. The woman stepped back, flustered. I was just said we have it under control. The woman nodded, retreating to a shelf like she'd been scolded. No one else spoke. The uncertainty spread through the room like smoke. No one knew who to believe anymore. Or maybe they did, and chose to ignore it. Tasha's momentary hope slipped away, swallowed whole by the manager's authority and the crowd's silence. Her voice cracked. You really don't see me, do you? But no one answered. A guard nudged her forward. Let's go, he said. Tasha's foot caught the edge of the floor mat as she resisted just enough to stumble. Her purse jerked from her shoulder, spilling across the boutique floor. Tease, lip balm, a folded receipt, a small lotion bottle, a granola bar. Don't resist, the other guard warned. I'm not, she snapped, falling to her knees. Her hands shook as she gathered her things, fingers scrambling across the polished wood floor. Phones came back out. Someone whispered, Get this. Tasha could feel them watching, not to help, but to record. The manager hovered behind her, arms folded. Get her out of here. She looked up. You didn't even check. We saw what we needed to. The judgment wasn't in what they said. It was in what they refused to see. She held up the receipt, fingers trembling. No one moved. The receipt slipped from her fingers. Catching on a breeze from the open door, it fluttered across the floor, sliding under a display shelf. A child pointed. Mom, her paper. Leave it, the woman said sharply, pulling him closer. Tasha reached for it, crawling forward, but a guard stepped between her and the proof. She sat back on her heels, blinking fast. That paper might have been her protection. But in this room, facts were optional. The story had already been written. From the corner of the store, a small child's voice broke through. She wasn't talking, she was crying. Soft, confused sobs. The mother scooped her up quickly, murmuring, It's okay, baby. But the child looked back over her shoulder, locking eyes with Tasha. She didn't understand why she was crying, but she knew something was wrong. Tasha's body ached with grief as she listened to because even the youngest soul could feel the injustice. The door shut behind her with a final, mechanical click. Tasha stumbled once before falling to the curb, purse clutched to her chest like a lifeline. Her body shook with sobs, deep, guttural, uncontrollable. Footsteps passed. Some slowed. Most didn't. A man looked at her, then kept walking. Even on the sidewalk, her humanity felt invisible, but something inside her refused to stay quiet. The crying slowed, replaced by a silence that burned. Tasha's hands dropped to her lap. Her eyes, red and swollen, lifted toward the boutique window. Her jaw tightened. This wasn't just embarrassment. It wasn't sadness. It was betrayal. Repetition. A story too old to still be happening, but it was. She exhaled, not to calm herself, but to steal her spine got in voiceover. Her thoughts cut through the stillness. They didn't just humiliate me. They lit a fuse. She stood dot, and just like that, the story changed direction. Yo, this just happened at Sienna plus Sage. Watch how they treat her. The TikTok video was shaky, but the moment was clear. Tasha being shoved, her voice trembling, the silence of the store louder than the accusation. The caption read, "Another day, another black woman disrespected." Within hours, the clip spread like wildfire. Wellness, while black started trending. People stitched the video, adding their own stories of being followed, denied, dismissed in so-called inclusive spaces. One comment read, "This happens too often. We're tired." Another, "How many times do we need to film our pain for it?" To count? Tasha hadn't even seen the video yet, but the world had, and the internet was already holding court. Twitter caught fire first. Screenshots hit timelines with captions like, "Why is wellness only for white comfort?" Influencers, activists, even therapists reposted it. Verified accounts started weighing in. Unacceptable. Where is this store? Tag the brand. Let's make sure they see this. Then it happened. Queen Latifah tweeted, "This woman is Grace under fire. Someone find her. I want to talk." In less than a day, the post hit 1 million likes. 1 million more views. Instagram stories became protest banners. Creators made videos unpacking the incident, discussing anti-blackness in progressive spaces. Wellness isn't wellness if it's built on exclusion, one creator said in a stitched video, tagging major brands that had partnerships with the boutique. Brands started scrambling. But the people? They were just getting started. Newsrooms picked up the scent. CNN called it a racial profiling incident gone viral. BuzzFeed titled their piece, "She Was Shopping." They called security. Essence ran with, "Healing while black." The cost of being seen as a threat. Journalists dug up other complaints tied to the same boutique. Online reviews resurfaced. They made me feel like I didn't belong. Never saw them treat white customers like that. Wellness brands began issuing statements. "We do not condone discrimination of any kind." Some dropped the boutique as a retail partner within 24 hours. Outside the store, things got louder. People stopped watching. They started showing up. It began with a chalk message on the sidewalk. "Healing doesn't happen in hostile spaces." By noon, the boutique's front was covered in signs. "Black women deserve peace. Safety is not selective. Don't brand wellness if you don't live it." Drums echoed down the block. Chants followed. "Tasha deserves justice. Say her name." She stood across the street, cooed up, tears welling again, but this time for something different. A woman approached her quietly. "Are you Tasha?" She nodded. The woman held out a mic, smiling wide. "This is your moment." Tasha's hands shook slightly. I didn't expect all this," she whispered. "You don't need to. Just speak." And so she did. Later that night, she opened her phone. It was time. Tasha clicked live. Her eyes were red but steady. Her voice cracked but didn't break. "I wasn't stealing," she began. "I was trying to heal." She spoke slowly, truthfully. "Every time I enter a space that's supposed to be about peace, I brace for tension. Because I know how they see me. Loud, suspicious, angry, even when I'm silent." Comments flooded in as she spoke. "This isn't just about me. It's about being told over and over that you don't belong in spaces designed to help people feel better." She exhaled, looked directly into the camera. "We deserve spaces that see us, don't silence us." Her thumb hovered before tapping end. By morning, the video had hit over 2 million views. But even before the number, she knew her voice had finally been heard. The message was simple. "Check your DMIS QL." Tasha stared at it for 5 minutes, then clicked Zoom link. One-on-one. No team, no PR filter. And there she was. Queen Latifah. Calm, elegant, powerful. Sis, I've been watching, she said, smiling gently. And I'm proud of you. Tasha barely breathed. You spoke your truth with grace. You didn't scream. You didn't shrink. That matters. She nodded, overwhelmed. Latifah paused, her smile turning sly. Let's flip this script. I got an idea. Tasha's brows furrowed. What kind of idea? One where you don't just reclaim your voice, you reclaim the space? Tasha leaned in, pulse rising. Are you serious? Latifah just grinned. I don't do anything fake. Here's the plan. Buy out the lease. Gut the boutique. Rebuild it from the ground up with Tasha leading the vision. A black-owned wellness sanctuary, Latifah explained. Built with intention. For us. We're not canceling, she said, eyes fierce. We're reclaiming. Tasha blinked. You want me to run it? Latifah laughed softly. You already do. Just needed the keys. Tasha covered her. Mouth, words gone. Heart thundering. Healing spaces. By black women. For black women. And this time, no one would be followed. No one would be erased. Not on her watch. Welcome to Studio Reclaim, the voice announced. Where there had once been judgment. Now there was intention. The same building that once shoved her out now held shelves of ancestral teas, hand-poured candles, and walls painted with murals by black artists from the neighborhood. Meditation cushions rested in a perfect circle. Herbal aromas danced through. The air, nothing loud, nothing flashy, but everything was felt. Every inch of the space said, you belong here. No one asked what she was doing. No one followed her, because this time, Tasha wasn't walking into someone else's store. She was walking into her own legacy. Outside, the line wrapped around the block. Neighbors, reporters, elders, young activists. A ribbon made of kente cloth stretched across the entryway, held by two girls in braids. Cameras clicked. Voices hummed with anticipation. Inside, the candles told their own story. Grounding, liberation, resilience. Each name more than a scent, a survival. An altar honoring. Grandmothers in freedom sat beneath an engraved sign. Wellness isn't a privilege. It's our birthright. Sound bowls vibrated through the room, inviting calm to take root. Tasha inhaled. Deeply. The space wasn't just open. It was safe. The boutique chain finally spoke. We are deeply sorry for the incident at our former location. But no one was listening anymore. Screenshots of the assault resurfaced. Too late, the comment said. We saw who you are. Their stock dipped. Collaborations dried up. More stores closed. Tasha glanced at the headline on her phone, then swiped it away. She wasn't interested in their regret. She was too busy building what they tried to destroy. She didn't just reopen a store. She reopened a portal. Guided meditations filled the space each morning. Trauma-informed breathwork circles were held weekly. Community healing workshops free to those who needed them ran every Saturday. People didn't just thank her for the space. They thanked her for showing up. When she had every reason to walk away, one woman whispered after a session, "You made me feel like I belong in my own skin again." Above the entry, etched in copper, hung the word founder beneath Tasha's name. She didn't ask for permission anymore. She just led. Queen Latifah stepped up to the mic, flashbulbs blinking. "When you try to silence a queen," she said, smiling, "she builds a kingdom." The crowd roared in affirmation, the moment echoing louder than applause. She turned to Tasha, arms open. "You did this?" Tasha nodded, tears welling not from pain, but power. This time, the crown wasn't symbolic. It was earned. Near the wellness shelf, a little girl lifted a candle marked resilience. "Mom, what's this word mean?" Her mother smiled. It means strength that doesn't break. Tasha watched, heart full, eyes soft. The girl held it close, beaming Dot, and in that quiet, beautiful moment, Tasha finally smiled at the future she helped create. Have you, or someone you love, ever faced discrimination like this? That's not just a question. It's a reflection. Your story matters. Your pain is real. Your truth has power. Drop it in the comments. We're listening. And we're not alone anymore. Let's keep the conversation going, because silence protects systems, but stories break them. Scroll through the comments. Share one. Like one. Reply to one. This is how movements begin, one truth at a time. If this story moved you, pass it forward. Like, subscribe. Share with someone who needs it today. Because in a world trying to quiet our voices, standing together is our loudest answer.